Hi, I'm Purnell, Shropshire Lad, and today I'm going to show you how to cook a whole muntjac on the Kadai Asado Cross. Right, so first things first, you want this thing to be on its back and it needs to be butterflied. Now, it's a little bit brutal, but I'm going to open it up. You'll see the rib cages there together. We're going to have to actually just crack the ribs. So you can literally just use your hands and it will just open up. I'm just going to open this up ever so slightly. It's just going to help us to spread the animal as wide as possible when we put it onto the cross. I'm going to take the main stem of the cross and just lay that over the top. And then we're going to size up the T-bars so that they're kind of in the right place, but I don't tend to clamp them down straight away because you might want to move them or stretch it out once you've got it wide up. So if you just loosely place the cross there, now you're going to take the second cross along the top. So crosses are roughly in place. Next up, you're going to need some wire and some cutters, and you probably want about, I'd say, 60 centimeters of wire for each of the secure fastenings that we're going to make. Now we're going to take our wire. Now this is on the shoulder. It's going to spread to the widest point possible, so that's actually the furthest hole in this T-bar. So we're going to put the wire through the hole and then through the meat itself, through this cartilage, and then just going to do a crisscross pattern. So it only needs to go through that hole once. We know now it's secured, and then we're just going to wrap it round that way and then back on itself and sort of like just make a crisscross effect. And once we've crisscrossed it over a few times, we can just wrap up those ends together with a few twists and repeat on all four corners. Okay, so we've got all four corners wired now. I just always like to put one just in the middle here. It's just a shorter piece of wire, you know, maybe 30 centimeters, probably don't even need that. Gonna go underneath that muntjac there and just push the wire through the ribs. So you're gonna just see that pop through. If you can sort of trying to locate roughly where it is, you'll see it come, I think I can see it, there we go, emerging, lovely. So pull that through halfway, and then on the other side the same. Oops, wrong rib, there we go, pop through, lovely. Okay, and we're just gonna pull that tight and literally just twist it around to secure that center. And that'll just stop the rib cage kind of sagging if we haven't got it pulled completely tight, which it doesn't have to be. You know, this piece of wire is really, really essential though. I would definitely recommend putting one in. But in order to get some seasoning into it and to help it to cook, we're just gonna put some very light slashes right across the meatiest parts with a knife. Okay, and that is just going to help us to kind of get some salt seasoning in there, but also, as I say, it's going to speed up the cooking process. What's great about cooking these muntjac or any venison is that it's completely natural. You know, it's lived a completely natural wild life. It's had no antibiotics. It's never seen a vet. And also the air mile, there's no air miles. It's not, you know, it's from down the road, which is why I like to use rapeseed oil as well, because this is British. Not having had it imported, it all kind of ties into the ethos. Put a very generous sprinkling of salt all over to one side. I'm just going to work that in with your hands. Okay, so we're just going to place the frame on the outside of the bowl and just clamp it down. Now we're building up a big fire here because we want to get lots of heat into those bones initially. So we've got, don't be shy with the wood when you first start out, otherwise you'll be here for a couple of weeks waiting for it to cook. Okay, so we're going to take the muntjac on the frame and we're going to cook bone side down towards the fire first. So the point end goes into this little pocket and we're just going to link that into the frame. Now you notice how I said I haven't clamped these down yet. That's because it makes more sense to do it once you've got it in place. So I'll twist it round so that it's flat over the fire, and there is where we can secure that cross. You can stretch it right out now, that's fine. I'm just going to secure it where we want it. So we're all set up, ready to go. I'm probably going to give it a good hour with bone side down before we think about turning it. It's always important to do it that way around first. The bones conduct the heat, and so we're protecting this meat. You know, it's quite a delicate meat is venison, and it also doesn't have any of its own fat really. It's super lean, so the bones are a really good thing to utilise. We're cooking 2/3 of the time this way round, and then we're really only going to turn it over for a bit of colour every now and then. We're also going to add some fat as we go using the Kadai flambadou, which I'll show you a little bit later on. It's my favourite thing. Okay, so we've had some heat going into those bones for some time now. I think it's time to give it a little turn. So all we need to do is take the pole out of the notch in the frame here, pivot 180, okay, back into the notch, and we're going to cook on that side for a little while. I'm just going to keep turning it, nurturing it, have a beer, chill out, and it's done when it's done. Okay, so we're going to just move this fire to one side for a minute, because what we're going to do is utilise the Kadai beads. I'm calling this bead baking, and it's a perfect way of slow cooking those potatoes. We're going to pull the middle out and turn it into the most delicious mash you've ever tasted in your entire life. So fire's just to one side. We're going to bring that back in a minute. Beads are already really hot, so we're going to just use this spatula just to dig a bit of a trench. And into the trench goes our spuds. So throw them in. Then I'm going to use the spatula just to cover them over again. They're literally going to be buried underneath those beads, and that will protect them from the fire to a degree whilst keeping it still very, very hot. Okay, then we're going to go back in with our wood where it was, and we're going to continue to cook this muntjac as we were. It's starting to look like it needs a little bit of a basting, so we're just going to add some butter, and the easiest way to do that is with the Kadai flambadou. I'm going to drop some butter into the top, and that is just going to baste all over our beast. Beautiful. Woo! Okay, so now we're coming towards the end. These legs are just finishing off. We've dropped them right down over the coals now. I'm just going to throw in some turnips and also some red onions too, and that's going to go into our gravy. We're going to get in here now, and we're going to get out our potatoes. Now they might look a bit knackered, but look how soft that is, and because we're going to turn these into mash, that's absolutely perfect. Okay, right, so we're just going to drop in the grill now, so we can use this to rest our skillet over the top where we're going to make our gravy. So, caramelised dirty onion will be served up within the gravy. The flavour's going to come in, but we don't want them to be mush. We want to know they're there. Next up, we're going to go with some red wine, and I found this little number from Gary Barlow. It's organic. Cheers, Gary. We'll take that. We're going to go for about 3/4 of a bottle of wine. I'm going to leave that in, and they're going to braise in that wine, but also we need to wait until the alcohol cooks off and it almost comes down to a syrup, and then we're just going to add in some beef stock, and we're just going to let that simmer. We're going to finish the dish with that beautiful gravy. Okay, so now we're going to salt these spuds. This knife has gone through that like butter. Look at that. Beautifully cooked inside. What we're going to do now is scrape those out into the bowl. It's going to make the most amazing mashed potato you've ever had in your life. Loads of butter. Excuse the char, but come on, we're working outside here. A little bit of cream, always and the mashed potato. And then we're just going to work all that together. And we're going to move on to our turnips now. So they also look pretty knackered, but inside, just look at that. Beautiful. You're literally just taking the outer crust off. And try, if you can, to leave that caramelisation. A little bit of colour goes an awful long way. That wine's almost cooked out now. A couple more minutes. Just before we're going to do that though, we're going to get this muntjac off. If you leave the frame on the upper side, it's much easier to take it off. Just going to take off the leg. Allow yourself a little bit of time to carve it up. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Exactly what we want. What a spectacular piece of meat this is. Running around the woods just a couple of weeks ago. Never seen an antibiotic or artificial feed in its life. Had a natural diet. And now it's going to end up on my plate. And I can't wait. Okay, so we've taken the wine right down now, so we're just going to add around about a pint of beef stock. That looks good to serve, nice and silky, so let's get this plated up. There goes our silky mash. A few of these wonderful fire-cooked turnip slices. Our beautiful muntjac, slow cooked over the very same wood that it was running around in just a few weeks ago. And then of course some of our beautiful gravy just all over to finish. Right, here's the moment of truth. And get a bit of that gravy. The smoke's so subtle. That mash is so smooth. These turnips are so soft. They fall apart in your mouth. Hopefully, from watching this video, you have the confidence to have a go at this. It's all about confidence. It's not difficult. Really simple cooking. Give it a go. Cheers.